Milan, welcome to the Tommy Sandhu Podcast, man. How are you, first of all? Everything good?
I am feeling top of the world, mate. Top of the world.
It is actually the day we record this. It's Friday morning. I'll be honest. It's Friday morning in October. It's quite sunny. Where are you right now? I'm sunny for me in London. Where are you?
I'm actually not too far from you. So I'm based in West London.
Oh, no, bruv. I know it's not technically far, but we're very different. I always say West and East. How do you feel? I mean, you haven't got a custom or anything. How do you feel about East Londoners? Because I know you got your issues. I got mine. We're just a bit different.
The thing is, I've got to keep this PC. So I'm just going to think how to put this. Lovely guys, man. I love East London.
That's a man who's selling his music, an artist who knows that, you know what, you might be performing at City Pavilion in East London at some point.
Ilford Lane.
Yeah, Ilford Lane, Punjabi Centre, it could be anywhere. So like, okay, you're keeping it sweet. Now, I was going to say there is a sort of a different vibe. Okay, if I'm honest, I'm going to go by Punjabis because that's safe to talk about that, right?
Yeah.
The East London Punjabis are different from the West London Punjabis, who are different from the Midlands Punjabis, and who are different from the Canadian Punjabis, right?
Yeah.
Canadian ones are hardcore. It's like they're in Punjab, right?
Yeah.
As good. And then Midlands isn't far off that, but Midlands is now actually changing a lot more as well. It's changing, but I will give them that. Midlands Punjabis is like the next level down. Then it waters down a bit for West, and then I think it waters down a bit more for East. So we're kind of the least Punjabi. Does that make sense? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That is absolutely spot on.
Yeah. So I think if you went to Southend, then there'd be even less Punjabi, because I'm just geographically moving that way in the country. I think it gets less and less Punjabi as we go that way. But you listen, look, here you are, West London lad, making Punjabi music. You now, young man making music. You could make anything, any style of music you want. What connects you to your roots? Why make Punjabi music now?
Yeah. No, really good question. I mean, so I guess from a young age, I think Punjabi music's just been within my household. My granddad used to listen to, the likes of kind of Kuldeep Manik, Jamki La, Muhammad Sadiq, the really kind of old school raw folk kind of tracks that used to come out at the time. So being brought up in that environment and just consistently being around their songs just really kind of got me into it, I guess, and it put the right place of Punjabi in my heart, and the want to promote it. I think that was the key ignition, I think, in the career.
It's funny, isn't it, that those times, and I think back to even me being a kid and the radio being on in the kitchen. Yeah. My mum and dad would have Sunrise on medium wave. It'd be on like a crackly, tutti frutti sound. You can't hear it. There's no bass. I don't think there's any treble. It was just like hissing with some music.
A little bit of mid-range.
That's it. The EQ levels, I think it might have even had EQ on there, but they didn't do anything. And and the food would be going, the tawa would be going, all that. But those memories are so distinct in my head. I can see it now. My mum's sewing machine and all that. But I think grow up with the music around you like that. That's the time to get it into your system. So that will influence you. Did you say you lived with your granddad then? Was he in the same house?
No. So funny enough, and it actually touches upon the points that we made slightly earlier on about kind of Midlands being kind of quite close to kind of, the dissiness of Canada. So my Midlands, originally my family's from Coventry.
Right.
And at a young age, obviously my parents moved down, and obviously I was born in West London, but we had that consistent connection of going up to Coventry like every weekend. So that little Midlands connection, literally meant that I was more or less brought up there in a way. So as they always say, going to Jana, it was like, every weekend. And I was like, everyone's, I was really close to my granddad. So you could more or less say that was in the atmosphere all the time, Punjabi Bolni, at home, with my parents, and then even more with my grandparents who didn't know English. So if I didn't communicate with them in Punjabi, there was no way to show them, how I felt about things, how to converse with them. So that kind of really, I can cemented my foundation in Punjabi culture and everything.
Do you worry? How old are you?
Ooh, I'm allowed to say that, man. Now I'm 40.
Oh, really? Okay, you don't remotely look it. Honestly, I was going to put you in your mid to late 20s tops.
I will take that, mate.
So I tell you why I asked that question. Because I was going to say, do you worry that Punjabi-ness or Asian culture, whether you're, Punjabi, Bangladeshi, anywhere where you might be from, in India, Pakistan, Gujarati, that it's watering down. Is it watering down? Or weirdly, through this Sidhu movement, Ami Virk movement, Punjabi films movement, Diljit Dosanjh movement, AP Dylan movement, there's a resurgence of culture amongst young'uns. And is it because I came through the 90s generation where it was all hip hop, R&B and jungle, drum and bass, house. I was a house DJ, right? All that. I loved all those times. But I didn't play Punjabi music back then. Yeah, there was a bit of Apache Indian and things like that, and Bali Sagoos and growing up and a few bands, but they were wedding stuff. But now, I don't know, it's like, it's very much at the forefront. I was in Canada in the summer. They know all the words to Sidhu, every Sidhu song. It's there. I don't know. Is something coming back? Is something changing?
Yeah, you know what? I think it's kind of swings and roundabouts, really. I mean, back in kind of like the 90s and stuff when I was collecting, kind of cassettes and tapes, and it was like a weekly thing going to Southwood Broadway, to get your Punjabi cassettes. And when you had the bands out, Apana Sangeet, Alab, and you had Hira and all them. I think growing up, even with that kind of music at weddings and stuff like that, it was very kind of UK was at the forefront of Punjabi kind of production. And then kind of towards the kind of 2000s, it kind of started changing across to kind of that garage, kind of that kind of feel, when I was at uni, that kind of time. And, I think what's occurred is the Punjabiness is there, but getting watered down is a very strong word. I think it's changing. It's evolving. But if you speak to someone who, like me, I'm a hardcore, folk, Punjabi fan, you would think that, yes, the Punjabi, the lyrics are getting watered down. The Punjabi is very, as Apne say, it's not very deep. It's not clear to Punjabi. So yeah, it's kind of, it's because of the Western influences. I think it's taking it in that direction of trap, that kind of house. And with that, you generally kind of tend to use kind of like, not too deep Punjabi. And I think that's the way it's.
Yeah. And so as you were just saying that, I was thinking, yeah, what is going on? I was thinking of like, I don't know what the song the Lover song by Diljit. And I'm like, that beat, Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I wonder whether he does get backlash from hardcore Punjabis going, Egia, what's all this? Yeah, right? But then you think, yeah, it's evolution. And if there's one thing we particularly Punjabis, I think, it's about evolving. We move, we adapt to different places around the world, wherever our communities might be. And actually, I'm going to broaden that out. It's not just Punjabis. I'd say it's Asian people, South Asians. We will fit in or try and fit in or get in wherever we can. Work, whether there's music, industry, business. So I think it is an evolution. So, but for that reason, you could argue you're holding on to a time, even with Green Eyes, you're holding on to a time of music that isn't evolved. Actually, you're keeping it. You're trying to say, no, I'm going to keep it a little bit more true and traditional. Did you know? How do you make those decisions in a studio? Because I've been in a studio a few times, just making silly bits of music. There's 1,000 different ways you can take a sound, a beat, a program, a riff. You got to be pretty solid in a studio to know what you want. Because like I said, and there's also influences. The engineer is going to say that. The double R player is going to say that. Or the musician or the engineer, the programmer can all going to say different things. How do you know what you want to do?
Yeah, no, that's really good question, because it's like, you're right. You've really got to be strong in terms of the product, the output. And I think with my whole persona and the way that I like to check my music, you're right. I do like to hold on to that kind of really core element of Punjab, where you've got your tumbi and you've got a nice bass line going through it. And if you look at majority of it, has that kind of folk element to it, whether it's a sarangi in there, whether it's a tumbi, algoje, whatever it is. I've got that kind of constant theme running through. I mean, it's funny because, in this age, hairstyles change, people have...
No, they don't. No, they don't.
Perhaps not for yourself.
Right. Yeah, I mean, my hairstyle hasn't changed since the late 90s, okay?
No. Mate, you are true to...
No roots. That's the problem.
Yeah. I mean, even me, I go to parties and I go to performances and, you look at kind of generally what the style and the flavor of what people, the music that's being played at the moment. I mean, look at me, I've got 2 hoop earrings. I'm stuck in the 80s. You know what I mean? I love it. That's just me. I love it. That's Punjabi for me. And I want to stick to that. Stick to that type of music, and that's why when I go into the studio, I'm like, right, okay, let's start with kind of a tumbi riff. Perhaps listen to some of the old classics, get some inspiration. And those classics happen to go back to your Surinder Shinda, your Chamkila, your Manak, your Muhammad Sadiq, Kartar Ramla, perhaps some names that today's generation may not even know, or, if they're not that well connected into, where Punjabi music started from.
Or the origins of that whole sound. Yeah.
Origins, yeah. So that, because that is solidly within me and it's part of my persona, I'm always going to be promoting that, and I'm always going to be going in that direction.
And I know artists out there, or producers out there that you could work with that also promote those values. So I suppose it's about teaming up with the right people. And who is it that you like to work with or want to work with? I mean, who's okay? As soon as you start talking, I'm thinking, have you worked with True School? Because you sound and feel like a lot like the way he is about staying true, but again, he puts that modern on it. So is that would that be an ideal kind of collaboration for you, or is there someone I want to work with now? You think, actually, I love what they're doing. I want to work with that kind of music maker.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Good question. I mean, in this day and age, I think, True School's doing, literally exactly what I've been, speaking of, kind of the pure Desi, the Thet Punjabi, that kind of folk vibe. And yeah, no, I mean, given a chance in the future, I'm sure there'd be some sort of collaboration on the cards, and it'd be brilliant to work with him. And I think there's a lot of, and I'm sure he feels the same way in terms of a lot of producers out there are trying to go down that vibe. And a lot of producers in India are trying to kind of copy that sound a little bit and trying to bring that folk flavor in. But I think that's good thing, because that's helping Punjabi to re-evolve back to essentially the folk style where it all started from. So, True School started a good thing. Now someone else is going to take that kind of fire and make it perhaps better, change it slightly or whatever it is. So no, very much bang on in what you said, and I think there might be a future collaboration, and I think I'll definitely welcome that.
Yeah, amazing. Can you actually play this? Because I see you're holding it in the Green Eyes video, and I thought, is that him?
Yeah. Good question, and there's a little story behind that as well. So I wouldn't admit to being the master, but I have learnt from a master of Tumbi. So you may recall the very late Balbir Bittu, who lived in Southall, and he was actually a good family friend of ours, and many weekends I'd spend going to his house, and he would come to functions at my house, and he taught me, kind of the very basics, and and I kind of practice, for example, playing little harmonics, and so I do know how to play the odd riff or here and there, but definitely promising to get better at that. But yeah, having said that, I started my career playing the dole, and and I play other instruments and stuff as well. So
I tell you, because I'm an idiot, right? I tell you where my mind goes when you're saying things like that. I'm like, I can't play anything, right? I can't play the tumbi, which is a one-string instrument. I wouldn't even. I can't even. I wouldn't have. I've got a dole upstairs that my granddad gave to me at 21 years old. So I've had it. It's beautiful wooden dole. Have I ever taken a dole lesson? No. It's just sitting there, and I've had dole players sitting there go, "This is beautiful. This is a lovely wooden carved dole, lovely." But I don't play. Then I thought about, maybe there's something in, like people have the air guitar, where they have air guitar. We should have tumbi, where people just get together and you can just mime along. I mean, look, my mime action's good. I don't know if I'm holding it right, but my mime, I could mime. Oh, it's that. I didn't do that.
It's all about the finger.
It's all about, isn't it always? So I'm saying there should be something in air dole and air tumbi. There you go. I'm just storing that one out there.
And then once you've got that, you then kind of branch off to harmonium.
Oh, it doesn't work on a podcast or like on a bit, because nothing's happening. But if you saw, if we sat down cross-legged, nothing in front of us, and just mimed along, that would be. Can we do that? When we meet up one day, let's just do like an air band. I don't know what we'd need.
An air jam.
Oh, hello. Hava jam. Hava chutney. That's what we'd be called, because jam is chutney and yes. Okay, I got there in the end.
Yeah.
See, look, what I like about you already, Milan, is that you're vibing. You'll go with me. You haven't just stopped and looked at me and went, "What is this idiot on about?"
Mate, I'm feeling it.
Which is what most people do. This is a genuine question in a way, but what is brown people's obsession with green eyes? We love Billy on the account. What is it? Where's that come from?
Yeah, you know what? I think, it's funny enough, and I know I keep referring back to it, but it goes back to kind of like old, songs and old kind of sayings and stuff in Punjab. Gori chitti, biliyan khan, or neeliyan khan, even blue But yeah, you know, there's some
And
sort of fascination.
Kale Zulfin, you know, or the
Yeah.
we want very black hair, we want very light skin, we want very green or blue. It's very, no one can be beige. No one can just be in the middle.
Yeah. No, it's very specific characteristics that we kind of, you know, we hone out, you know, with people, you know, kind of filter down to this beautiful vibe perhaps doesn't exist, or perhaps does exist somewhere in Jalandhar, you know.
Yeah. she is going to get a lot of love from a lot of people, because if you've got green eyes, all that, but there is something that we love. There is magical about eyes. There is something about, you know, and captivating about eyes. What made you do green eyes? What's the story behind putting that down?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So the guy that I worked together with in terms of writing the track is a guy, you know, came over from Punjab, and he kind of gave me the original idea. And I kind of ran with it. And I also kind of had, if you recall, and I think it's on Jazzy B's Folk and Funky album. Do you remember he had a track called Blue Eyes?
I tell you what, I'm gonna Blue Eyes, Hypnotize. Is that someone? Is that Honey Singh?
Potentially, might be.
Okay,
yeah.
Right, yeah, but God, I'm gonna look it up now. Saying it, but go on, yeah. So
So I kind of had that kind of that track in my head, and I thought, I really did like the marketing, the sound. I mean, even back then, you know, I don't think much thought was given to kind of titling of tracks, but I just liked the way that sounded. And it just so happened that myself and this writer working on this track, we think, you know, we wanted to kind of almost do a kind of a romantic track, but not a solid kind of soppy romantic. We wanted to be kind of like a really urban kind of UK style flavor, implementing the girl. And we came up with, you know, Billiya Akada Sorma. And we thought, you know what, that's actually a good concept. And you know, we can either call the track Billiya Akada Sorma, or, and this is where I kicked in, you know what, bringing some of that 90s kind of flavor and titling. I thought, you know what, you know, Jazzy B had this track called Blue Eyes. Why not I do a track called Green Eyes? And I think it went down really well. And a lot of these things, when they're naming their songs, don't really give it that much thought. But as per usual, I kind of wanted that input to kind of bring a bit of myself into that.
Yeah, no, I like that. I don't think you're going to go right. I just had a vision of your whole album being people different colors eyes. You're going to go, oh, next song brown eyes, and next song, yeah, exactly, no eyes. Look, I enjoy finding out about the creative process, and I suppose that's why I've always had a lot of love and respect for anybody who's making a thing. You're doing it with music, someone does it with film, scripts, food, cakes, whatever it might be, right? I think there aren't many people out there that will go, oh, there's something in that, and it down. And then a day later, you add to it, and then someone comes along and he says something, and they're like, oh, and then you hear a little riff, and you know, I think, what is it about that musical process? I suppose, what's your thing in that? Because okay, I'm an ideas person. I'll go, let's do this, but then I need the. I'm going to go, come on in, let's do it. You know, you need help. Who's your team? How do you fit in? Where do your strengths lie in that respect?
Yeah, so I think in terms of ideas, and I think this is on what we said earlier, I think because I've always got a driving force and always like an end kind of vision of what my track or sound is going to sound like. I'm almost like a guiding force with producers or the instrumentalists who are working on the track, and even the composer, you know, and that necessarily loses fire all the time. So it could be that, you know, a guy who writes the track and he already has a specific concept in mind. And then what I'll do is I'll then twist it a little bit and say, right, okay, let's put a bit of a Surinder Shindar type feel to it. Let's put a bit of Kuldeep Manik type feel to it. And I'll change it a little bit. And sometimes I do find that, you know, working with kind of obviously producers in the UK, you've almost got to persuade them and show them a bit and say, right, okay, because they're very much up to date in terms of, you know, what's going on now. And I might be in there perhaps dragging them back a little bit and, you know, thinking, right, can I please create that sound that was back then? And who knows, you know, we may end up changing the game. Like Sidhu Moosewala did, he changed the game. You know,
I agree.
You know, and that's, you know, my kind of guiding force. And you know, and I guess it's the power of persuasion or the way I speech it. But I managed to get these people on my side.
No, you know what's great about that is you're true, and that's the key. I think if you have to be true to you, and what you feel music. Whatever you want to do, whatever you music. If you want to wear 2 earrings, you wear 2 earrings. If that feels fine, you know. For me, I haven't got the ball or the beard to back it up. They'll just stand out. They'll stand. Look at this. I've got nothing on this head. So, but you got. I think even now with this podcast, everything that I'm doing, stand up, I think if you're true to yourself, then it's good. Then you're happy. You know,
you can't go wrong.
No, you can't. You really can't. Okay, but talking of can't go wrong, this is where it could all go wrong because we're going to play. Your song, Milan, is out. It's called Green Eyes. Yep. Of course, we thought we'd just challenge you to see how well you know your songs to do with eyes. Ooh. I'm going to sing for you, Milan. I know, lucky you. I'm going to sing for you. The start of 3 songs. See if you finish it off. It's all to do with eyes. Are you ready for song number 1?
Okay.
Is the world ready? Okay. You're just too good to be true. Can't take my
eyes off you.
Yes. Keep going then.
Ooh.
Can't take my eyes off of you. You'll be like heaven to touch.
Yeah.
I wanna stroke your mood. No, I don't think that's how it goes, but something like that. But anyway, there you go. Right. So okay, that's number 1. Well done. You got it. It's eyes off of you. Here we go. Next one. Cause my baby's got ooh.
I know this one.
Yeah, my baby. Let me give it to you again. Yeah, my baby's got ooh.
You know what? My mind's gone blank.
Raghav.
You know, I think I knew it was Raghav, but I just didn't know what the next verse was. Yeah.
Angel eyes. Yeah, my baby's got angel eyes was what I wanted.
Angel eyes, that's it. Yeah.
And a Teddy Barton remix of it, which was great as well. Anyway, 1 out of 2. Okay. You're 50% right now, but it could drop down to 33%, or you could get a B- on 66%, and then your parents will be just about happy. Okay.
Then I'll get shit that when I get home.
Oh, still for 66%. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Not good enough.
No impressing them. Okay. Okay, let me. Don't lose your grip on the dreams of the past. You must fight just to keep them alive. It's the
eye of the tiger.
It's the thrill of the life. Yeah, Milan, you got 66%, but you're still getting shit there.
I'm still getting licks when I get home.
Top man, brilliant work. Well done. You passed the test, and wish you all the best. It's good to talk to an artist. Do you know what I mean? But and I think you are making your music, yeah, and it'd be very easy to follow trends and do other things. It's going to go, oh, I'm going to make AP Dylan style music, whatever. I think you're being used. Are you enjoying this right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think the way music's going, I think it's going in a diverse set of directions. And I think if you don't stay true to yourself, you're just going to end up copying someone else's sound. And I'm not really down with. So just as you said, pretty much trying to keep it true to Punjabi.
Good on you. You stay that way. Milan, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Hope to see you around, see you in the flesh. And I look out for doing air jam very soon. Look out for us. We're going to be gigging together. Cheers, Milan.
Yeah, definitely can't wait.